I think a lot of people in my niche have forgotten that in order to continue to grow, you have to continue to invest in yourself. Just to keep this property running, bills, everyone, employees, is probably $25,000 to $30,000 per month. But I don't say that nor complain about it because truthfully, I do this because I love it. If I did not love what I do, I would not do it. When you look back at life and realize that you're blessed just to be here, when you look at life just deep and ignore all the BS that life tries to distract you with, how could you be mad? And how could you be sad? My decisions get me to certain spots, but at the end of the day, I always know Jesus has my back, and knowing that is the best feeling on planet Earth. I lost $160,000 in 2 months, and to be honest with you, I don't regret it. One thing I tell everybody, and a lot of people come up to me at meet and greets, and how did you get to where you are, or what do you think got you where you are the fastest? The biggest thing is
I'm excited for this one because, kind of like we spoke off camera, a lot of people see the side of you that is the animals, the farm, you starting the pond at your mom's house, all this different stuff, but they don't see the side of you that's the business side, the mindset side, how you actually got here and actually are still relevant and still growing. And I think that's a side that I'm very curious about. And it's crazy because I'm gonna have to show you my YouTube thing after. When I was 14, when I sent you that DM, I was 14, and all your videos are watched from when I was 14.
That's so awesome.
And it's crazy to actually be here in person because you see it, you feel it. It's damn, from where you started to now being here, it's such a distinctive gap that it's I'm just curious about that.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't even realize it, to be honest with you, man. Time flies.
Yeah.
I went from, this is the 4th property, the 2nd real farm build.
Yeah.
The amount of work, energy, money, hustle, time spent to get to this spot in where I'm at right now, and what I have to come as well. Some of the craziest projects haven't even become a thing
100%.
yet. We have sharks going in here in the next 2 weeks. So some of the biggest things haven't even come yet, but we'll of course get into it in the podcast. But I'm excited to be here with you, man. I appreciate you having me on, and it's cool that I just came across the DM and I was like, let's run it. Bro.
I don't think anything's a coincidence. I want to get into that later, but I think divine intervention, I think God is real, and I think what is happening right now is going to impact somebody out there. I know it is. And like I said, it's very exciting to be here, and it's even more exciting because I wish that everybody could see it and they actually have the opportunity to see it. Yeah. Because I don't know how long this is going to last. You have how many orders still left at?
There's 150 shirts. How long will this podcast take to go out?
Probably be up tomorrow.
Wow, you're a hustler, bro.
Yeah. It'll be up tomorrow. We have a team, so I have to give credit to my team.
Beautiful.
The team will have it up tomorrow.
Legendary. There might be some shirts left, but if you're interested, go cop yourself a nice T-shirt right here. I'm addicted to buying fish. We sign the sides, so regardless, you get a nice signed T-shirt.
Yeah, 100%.
And then there's, of course, the ticket that comes with it, this golden ticket, and then you could win a free, fully paid trip to the farm here.
I'm going to regurgitate that so you guys can see. So if you watch his videos, or if you don't know who he is and you're going to see by the end of this video, and you want to meet him, I'm going to put the link in the description so you guys can go there, make it easy for you guys. You're getting a signed shirt, confirmed, but you also have the chance, re-say it, to come here to the farm, hang out with him. I think it's 2 days that they're coming here, right?
Fully paid trip to South Florida.
Fully paid. Guys.
With another guest, and super cool opportunity for those watching my videos. I wanted to give back a little bit, and to be honest, they exceeded my expectations. I dropped 16 hours ago. We've sold 800 plus shirts already. Yeah. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Next time I'll make sure I buy 2,000. Yeah, you guys are mind-blowing. To the Cuffaros watching this right now, thank you all so much for the support. It's actually incredible. And, of course, all the funds that I make on these T-shirts goes right into projects like the one behind me.
100%.
The filtration's not cheap. The sharks aren't cheap. So much love.
Link in the description. He had no idea I was saying this, so don't think this is some type of marketing thing. But, guys, let's get into it. So I was curious, right, because I started watching your videos when I was 14. I think the first time I watched your video was right after the big pond. I think it was when your first bass died.
Yeah, Thump.
Yeah, I think
the
it was
first OG.
The first bass. I think that's when I really started watching. Then I went back, and then I kept up with you. And then when I was 17, 16, I stopped watching. Now I'm watching again. I'll be honest, I'll watch,
Thanks, bro.
a lot of
Appreciate
stuff.
it.
And I think the thing that I was most curious about is how long you've actually been making videos for.
Yep.
And more specifically, I think it was March 24th, 2016. That was when your first video was on YouTube. I think you had videos before that.
Yeah, I did.
You deleted it, or you?
I've been making content on YouTube for over 10 years. Yeah, probably 10 to 12 years I've been making content. Now, these were channels when we were a kid. Me and my little brother who's packing orders behind the camera here. We were doing like airsoft videos and just super fun stuff. I always had.
Did you delete those videos?
No, there's still. I'll send you some links.
Yeah, I know.
I'll
I was
send you some
gonna
links.
say I would love to see that.
Yeah, I'll send you some. No one knows about that, by the way. This is the first time I've ever mentioned that. But I've been making videos for 12 years. Yeah. Just, I've always had the creative side of me that I've always just wanted to create content for the world to see, whether they enjoyed it or not. The people that come across that did enjoy it would really enjoy it, and I'd keep that community around me. You know what I mean? And I always felt that that was going to be what I did. But I never knew it. I just felt it. Like, I just love creating content, right? So I started when I was just in my parents' backyard doing the fishing stuff. When I realized that that was really something I could take on, I took it seriously, more seriously.
I like that you said that you didn't know, and that's exactly why I want to ask this, because what was the initial game plan? Like, did you, when you first published that video, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna aim for 3 million subscribers. I'm gonna do this. Like, what was the initial game plan?
The initial game plan was to just have fun with it. I worked at a bait and tackle shop at the time. I went to school at the time. So I was in high school. I'd go to school. I'd get off school. I'd go to a bait and tackle shop. I'd work till night. And then after I was done working, I'd come home and film my YouTube videos. So a lot of my old videos are filmed at night. A good 80-90% of them are filmed in the dark. But I just made it because that was when I could do it. Stay up, I'd edit them, sleep for 3 hours, and do the same thing the next day.
So you were going to school, you had your job,
Yeah.
and then that's when you recorded videos.
Yeah, make a couple $100 a month at the bait and tackle shop. I didn't think anything of YouTube being my job at the time. I just did it because I truly loved it and I loved making videos. And then at some point it got to that realization where I was like, okay, I'm getting older. I need a job. I don't really want to go to college, right? So let me take this a little bit more serious.
I think I want to hold that point on the realization when it finally hit, because I think I'm gonna assume when that realization was. I want to say in a little bit, but something that you said that really highlighted to me is that you had your job, you're still going to school,
Yeah.
and you were doing this at nighttime when you had time.
Yeah.
And I think this is something for a lot of people out there, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you have something, a burning desire. You don't have to build a business, but that burning desire, when you start, it's not going to be black and white. It's not
Yes,
gonna, well, I have all the time in the
exactly.
world. Like,
Exactly.
that initial sacrifice, I think, is why you're here today. Because a lot of people say, well, you know what? I have school. I have a job. I don't have time for this. You know, it's too much time.
One thing I tell everybody, and a lot of people come up to me at meet and greets and even friends and family, how did you get to where you are, or what do you think got you where you are the fastest? That might be a question we come across later, but I can answer it briefly right now. The biggest thing is consistency. A lot of people say, how do you become a YouTuber? Consistency is literally number one. It is the number one thing. I was never comfortable, and comfortability is the death of all traits, right? Like that, if you get comfortable, you're never going to grow. So
100%.
I never got comfortable. And back in the day when I was a kid like that, I always had aspirations to be something. Like I just wanted to always be bigger than I was. Still to this day, I want to be bigger than I am. I strive for growth, right? And when I did those videos and started making constant content, I saw growth more. Consistency is key. I was posting every other day. I did not miss a day.
Still
every
to
other
this
day.
day, you're still doing that.
Stay every 3 to 4 days to this day, but every other day for a year and a half when I was at that age, at like 16, 17, 18, I was cranking, dude. I had no friends. I didn't talk to nobody. I barely paid attention in school, which is not the greatest advice, but I just didn't. I was working on my YouTube stuff 90% of the time. I just was dialed into this one mission, and that, I believe, truthfully, is why I am where I am, is because I didn't really let anyone distract me or anything distract me. Didn't let anyone's thoughts distract me, nothing. Just, you got to stay dialed, and that goes for anything, whether it's YouTube, any sort of business you want to, get into. You just don't let anyone tell you that it's not possible, because truthfully, they haven't even tried themselves, and if they have, they probably failed. That's why they're telling you it's not possible, but everything's possible.
So question, on that realization, what was the point that you were like, you know what, I'm dropping my job, I'm dropping school, I'm gonna, because I know you dropped out of school to then do homeschool,
Yeah.
which you dropped out of homeschool too.
Yes.
But at what point was it that you're like, okay, let's go all in on this?
So I started, like I had said, making content in high school. When I got to the point where my parents saw some growth, I could no longer needed to work at the bait and tackle shop. When those things started happening, I said to my parents, what can I do to prove to you that this is what I want to do? Thankfully, I have amazing parents. Love my parents. They were, open for the idea of, hey, show me that you can do this much revenue in 1 month, and the next month try to make more than you did the month prior. It shows some dedication on my end, and it also shows that it's something I could do without school, right? So I made X mark, whatever the mark. I think it was like $6,000 a month. And
That's a lot of money. I mean,
yeah, at 15 years old, 16 years old. My parents probably said it because they didn't think I was going to really do it, right?
Yeah.
But I grinding my ass off, and I ended up doing like $6,000 or $7,000 the first month. And this was the agreement to go homeschool, by the way. So I dropped the bait and tackle shop. Now this was my agreement to where I could put my full fourth effort, do a little bit of homeschool, and then grind, right? So I did like $6,000 or $7,000. The next month we did like double, and the next month like tripled that. And when I was 16, 17 years old making that money, my parents were like, okay, this is something we should actually let him fully take on, right? Yeah. So they let me go homeschool, and when I went homeschool, I had all the time in the world, and I completely just...
You went all in.
Dude, like, I'm talking locked in, dude, locked in. And when I had the time that I had without school and no work, it was game over. I never even touched school again.
Isn't it funny that I know I'm going to look back on this moments, moments that... Did you ever get the shoe in the box, by the way?
Yes, I did.
You know, I'm going to look back on those moments when, you know, you become such a big name. You become such the platform. Everything is just so much easier now where I could just text you or, hey, do you know, can you give me his number? You're going to miss that early grind. And I think sometimes, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you reflect on that early grind.
100%, like, dude, 100%. There's nothing like that grind. You know what I mean? Yeah. Even looking back on it now, and I hustle to this day, don't get me wrong, but...
There's something different.
Yeah, it's different because you don't have anyone... Like, I never grew up with anyone telling me how to do this, how to make money, how to do this, right? Like, there's a lot of different ways you can go about making YouTube videos.
100%.
You know? And I kind of just learned everything on my own. Everything. So now that I kind of learned that, I try passing the knowledge on, to be honest with you. Like, I really do. A lot of my friends that want to be YouTubers, a lot of people around me that want to be YouTubers, I've helped many of my friends become big YouTubers, bigger. And I enjoy every second of it. I don't look for anything in return. I think it's just part of being a good person.
I want to talk about that quality.
You know, it's what God would want you to do in my eyes, 100%. You know what I mean? Like, and I just try to have fun, enjoy life. You never know. Tomorrow we can all croak. So
literally,
just have fun, man.
I want to get more into that quality because when you get to that level where you have it, where you have the option to give somebody advice or not, when you have the option to do this or that, that's when your character becomes more clear. And I think your character has shown because 100%. You have the option. You have the option to say, well, how much am I making a month? Do I really need to put a new pond? I mean, we could just do this, less money, keep more money. Yeah. You could do that. You have the option. Yeah. But then you decide to still, you know what, I'm going to make the best videos. I'm going to enjoy what I do.
So that's huge because I think a lot of people in my niche have forgotten that in order to continue to grow, you have to continue to invest in yourself, right? You will not grow if you get comfortable, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
So
comfortable and complacent. I think that's the twins.
Yes. So for me, I can make all the money in the world right now on everything. A solid 95% of the revenue that I make, if not 100% of the revenue that I make, is completely dumped back into the projects. Give you a rough estimate. This pond, not cheap, right? The filtration, $7,000. This pond, probably, I think the fiberglass is $12,000. The deck around it, $5,000. You know, like by the time I'm done with this project, water's in it. Just the water is $1,500.
For water?
For water, you got to pump it from the inlets.
From Miami, no?
Bring it here in a truck. Yep.
I'll bring it to you next time.
It's $900 a truckload. So like just to fill this was 2 trucks. Holy shit. And then I got to do water change every other month, every other month, roughly. So you got to put in perspective the overhead here at my property, and I don't know if I've ever said this number online, but just to keep this property running, bills, everyone, employees, feed for the animals, ponds, filtration, everything fixed, is probably $25,000 to $30,000 per month, just to keep this running.
25 to 30,000. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I have to make that regardless, just to make any money. But I don't say that nor complain about it because truthfully, I do this because I love it. If I did not love what I do, I would not do it. The amount of headache, stress, bullcrap that you deal with on a daily basis owning all this, it ain't worth it unless you really love it. And the fact that I do love it and I do it every single day, all day, it just makes me push and make it even bigger. So when it goes back to what we were talking in the beginning, every single dollar that you make, if you reinvest in yourself, making more badass projects that others are afraid to do and compete with, then essentially you're on a whole nother level than everybody else. So you're standing out. And that's how I believe I've stayed relevant and continue to grow over the last couple of years.
And I think to add to that, it's not only if the project, I know you said project because it's your world, but it's with anything. I mean, for me, I constantly look ways to reinvest. Now I feel like I'm at a position to pay
same. Same for
in
everything.
any industry, and whatever you're an entrepreneur, well, it applies mostly to entrepreneurs, but whatever you're in, I think your ability to reinvest, your ability to continue to learn, your ability to say, okay, this isn't performing the same. What can I do different? Having creativity.
That's huge too. In YouTube, not to interrupt
No, please.
But when you notice something isn't working, you could take that and twist it, right? So like I've had a lot of videos that I've made and I'm like, dang, that just cut the views in half. So what did people not like about this that they did like about this?
I like
so
that.
That was a big thing for anyone watching this podcast right now that might want to become a creator at some point, or is a creator and they want to learn how to branch off and grow. Look at your analytics. Really dial in on your analytics. What's not doing as well as what is doing well, and take what is doing well, and you could even tweak what is doing well into what's not doing well and make it one thing, if that makes sense.
It does.
So some videos, for instance, here's the thing. I'll give you a perfect instance. A tide pool video for me isn't going to do as well. So in the beginning of the tide pool video, I will put in feeding the farm, feeding the fish tanks, and at the end of the video will be the tide pool.
I noticed that in the recent.
So what you're doing essentially is growing those people that have more interest in vice versa, whichever it may be. They're seeing both sides. So you're growing interest on them, on what they might not like, to then watch what they do like.
And this was obviously, you came to this after testing it.
Yes. So
that's the biggest thing, testing, you know.
You can flip it there. If someone doesn't like the tide pools and they like the farm, then you put the tide pools last and let them watch through the farm. So they got to watch what they don't really like to then find what they do like, but then they're going to grow to like what they don't like. Gosh, that's so confusing.
No.
But hopefully it makes sense.
It makes sense. I hope you guys are taking out your notes.
Yeah, you're essentially training an audience to like something a little bit more so that when you plan to make future content on what they didn't like in the beginning, they might like it more to watch it. Hopefully that makes sense. Might sound crazy, but that's just typically how you could train an audience to watch what they wouldn't normally want.
I hope you guys take some notes on that.
Is that crazy for me to say? But that's just, I enjoy making all the content. So I want to be able to continue to make all the content. And if I don't train an audience who's watching my stuff to like what they might not like as much as what they do, then of course I'll be able to have to be sticking to one thing of content that I don't really want to make all the time.
I want to get deeper into that. And to go back to a point that I noted, that I want to finish this and then go to that point, is the initial pressure that you had with, I outside in, I would see that as pressure with your parents saying, hey, look, if you're not making minimum 6, 7, 5K a month, you're not going to drop out. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people outside in would say, well, your parents, they're abusive. They don't let you do what you love. They don't. Yeah. But I think the reality is that's what most situations are. There's a lot of initial friction. Mm-hmm. And I heard somebody call it growth pains, but there's a lot of initial friction when you say you want to do something, because people don't. Why would somebody believe you? And I always say this, why would somebody believe you? Like, there's nothing to believe in. There's no proof. There's no accolades. There's no numbers. There's nothing to believe in.
Nothing.
Yet.
Other than an idea.
Exactly. And I want to ask you, that initial pressure that you had, how did you react to that? I mean, I'm sure there was like a day, that first day where you're like, yeah, mom,
Yeah.
But how was that?
I'm not going to lie to you. I cannot relate to most people probably when it comes to that. My parents are incredible. Like, I couldn't ask, and I know some of my friends even don't have that same family circle like that, but like, my parents believed in me since the day I started. Like, they let me dig a hole in the backyard. They said this is going to be huge. Did they think? I don't know. We'd probably have to ask them. Probably not. But, like, they did believe in it. They were like, dig a hole.
Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, thank you, Mom and Dad. Leave a hole of dirt. There was dirt this high in their backyard for months. Months. Just a hole of dirt next to the circle pond that I built. And they never said a word. They never said that get rid of the dirt. They never bothered me about it. They just let me do my thing in the backyard because we rented our whole life. So we never had a backyard.
That was a rental house that you did that?
No, we were never able to. So when my dad and mom finally saved up enough to get a house.
Also, they brought a house just for you to.
Not just for me, but we eventually finally got a house where they were owning it, and I was able to finally do it. I wanted to do it before, but I couldn't. Landlords wouldn't let us. So we finally were able to get that. You know what I mean? And once we did, they were just like, I think that was one of their things where like they kind of worked for me to be able to do it.
Yeah.
So I can't really relate when it comes to that, but for the most part, I totally see what you're saying. Like, there is that pressure there to try to prove, right, to your parents, like, here's what I want to do, and there's nothing showing that I could do it, but I guess at the end of the day, the only thing they could do is believe, and just trust the process.
Yeah, and then regardless of whether or not people believe in you, you should start, because, this is something, I feel like I'm going to be known for saying this, because I made so many clips about this, but that initial belief
It's huge.
is literally only going to come from you. Like
Yeah.
like I said, there's nothing to believe in.
100%.
And I think taking that first step forward, not knowing what the next 6 months is going to look like, not knowing where the funds are going to come from, not knowing what the idea for the channel or where it's going to is super key. Because
100%.
like you said, you didn't know which, like, I don't think you knew which video was going to blow up. I didn't think you knew which one was going to put you on the map and what you were going to be known for. But over time,
Yep.
a long time, you figured it out.
Yep.
And I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned from you is you don't have to be 100% ready. The situation, the circumstances don't have to be ideal for you to start and for you to grow.
You have to take risks. That's
100%.
the biggest thing. Like for me, in my YouTube career of growing as a social media influencer, they say, right? Like for me, it's all about risk. I've had months in to be honest with the audience here watching, the last 2 to 3 months, have made less than what I've spent. So I've went into things that, whether it's a credit card or, I'm just an open book. I don't really care to tell anyone.
No,
right? Like whether it's, I did a big pool project and it took me back and I might have been not ready for it, but I made it happen. And that's what drives me, bro. Is like, if I make a decision, impulse, I go, that might not have been the smartest, but now I got to work to get out of it. And that has always got me to the next level, is kind of putting myself in positions where I have to work. I have to do more. I have to get that next thing out, right? I have to do...
It's a fire clip.
Yeah, like I have to get to that next thing. Like, and that, for instance, is like merch drops and all these different things that they come to my mind when I'm sitting there in like, all right, what's next? You know what I mean? And that's how I grow. That's like the biggest growth for me.
You know what?
Putting yourself in uncomfortable situations.
And forcefully. I think that's the biggest thing. Like we talked about, the complacency that you see other people in your industry.
Yeah.
That comes from not putting yourself in very uncomfortable situations voluntarily, because you're at a position right now, like we said, you don't have to build a pool. I mean, do you really have to build a pool? You don't have to do this. You have 2 ponds. Like, do you really have to do this?
Exactly.
But it's
You're explaining it perfectly.
But it's that uncomfortable situation.
I like it. I love putting myself there where I don't have enough, but I'll make sure I do get enough.
Find it somewhere.
Like I'll find it. Yeah.
I like that.
And that's how I think a lot of this stuff happens,
And it's crazy because God has a funny way of working, because there's always I never plan like the interviews. You know how I write it down and then at the end I say, well,
I didn't touch base on 90% of that.
No, I'll be like, get ready to scratch it all, because you're gonna run with the flow, and that's what something I've learned watching like Joe Rogan, all these different people.
100%.
But it's crazy because the question I was gonna ask you is that you now have not only done just ponds, not just fish. That's not what you're known for. I mean, there's a lot of behind the scenes. For example, you have this merch shop that you're doing right now. You have the real estate investing. You have do you have the car?
No car shop. I got screwed by my partner, brother.
I don't want to get into that too much.
That's a whole thing.
We'll do a whole nother thing for that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But
that's business, right? You have ups and downs, and I don't want to get in too deep into this, but yeah, you have ups and downs in businesses, and I learned more about what happened to me in that time. I lost $160,000 in 2 months. It was big. I sold my favorite investment property that had a low interest rate. It was a cash cow. It was making money. I sold it for that car shop, and I got screwed. I got fist up And to be honest with you, I don't regret it.
I was going to say, a lot of people would be like, oh, I'm sorry for you. I think I'm actually very happy for you, because that molded
probably the best thing that could ever happen. 1, it humbled me. 2, it made me realize that everything could disappear in the snap of a finger, and it was the most stressful time of my life at the time. Yeah. And 3, when all that happened, I realized that this is business. Like, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and you're going to lose a lot of money, and I'd rather lose what I lost then than 10 years from now lose 5 million, 10 million, and it be a bigger effect. And that could still happen, don't get me wrong, but I know kind of what to look for now. At the age that I lost all that, I was like 21 years old. To lose that money at that age and lose a business that I always strive to have at that age, after renovating this cool spot and like having high clientele come in. But it was such a cool thing, and you know,
I think you live in the
you live and you learn, and
100%.
it was a big learning curve for me, and I don't regret it, like I said, and I think everything happens for a reason, God's plan, and
100%.
To be honest, that was part of the plan, and I'm happy it happened. I learned a lot, and I'm a different guy just because of that. So
On that, I think a bigger project that I really love to highlight. I brought that up because I was just trying to list the stuff. But you have PC Aquatics, which is a big.
Yeah.
Is it still under construction? I know.
Yeah. So we got about beginning of September. I have a web developer doing the website.
Okay.
Assuming the question was going to be about PC Aquatics, correct?
Well, it wasn't. But
okay. All right. Keep going.
So the reason why I'm asking this is because you have all these different businesses that you've gotten into, and I think outside in what I see in between the videos, like instead of in between the lines, in between the videos, what I see is your ability to consistently, what's next? How can we improve this? How can was that something you were born with? Did you learn that?
To be honest, I have two brothers, Tommy. I don't think we think alike when it comes to that. So I might have been born with it, but they think differently. He's super good with tech. My older brother's great with security, like cybersecurity, super smart. They're both great with tech. So I don't know if it's something I was born with, but they think differently than I do when it comes to that, for sure. I'm always looking for that next thing. They'll find something and get really good at that one thing and just get comfortable with that one thing. It's from what I've noticed being brothers with them. I live with my older brother and my younger brother. Both them live here at the house, which is amazing. I was able to move both the brothers in. Dude, it was awesome.
Yeah,
we got the pool now, dude. It's 25, 23, almost 24, and 21. So 22.
That's actually really fun.
Almost 22. So, dude, it's cool. I live with my
Happy
brothers.
early birthday. I'm going to when is it? 21st? Day after elections. Sorry, I just because I'm working on something that's...
There you go, yeah. So to live with my brothers is amazing, man. It's super cool. And my little brother works for me. My mom works for me, so keep it small, keep it family related. And
I like that.
Yeah, it's people you trust,
Something that I've realized everything is timing because I've wanted to rush the process. I mean, think about it like this, and this is crazy. I just got reminded of this. When I had texted you, I started making fishing videos. Like I had a fish tank. I still have a fish tank to this. I have 3. Thank God business is going good, so I brought like a 75-gallon fish tank with I put a bunch of shit in there. But when I started YouTube, I made fish videos. I did fishing, and I was like, I want to just be like Paul Cuffaro. I love the way he's doing life.
Yep.
And then when you texted me that, I was like, yo, just be yourself. Just find something you love. I was like, man, I'm not loving this. I don't know. Like, I love fish, and I don't love it enough to do. And now, fast forward like 3 years, 4 years later, this is what I'm doing, and I'm like putting a lot of money into it. I'm paying for gas. I'm going all in. I'm putting my time into it. Have a team for it. Like,
that's how you grow, bro.
This is what it is, and it's crazy because, like I said, you just never know what's gonna be your thing.
Yeah.
But when it
took a few years.
It took a few. It did. But when you find it, it's almost like you have to. Like go all in. Like there's no other way around it. And whether their circumstances are perfect, like I said, whether you have time or you don't, I think going all in is what makes a difference. Because
100 million%, man.
Half in, half out. Like, well, I'm gonna do YouTube videos. And you know what? Let me do one a week. That way I have enough time to do a job, make some money there.
Well, kind of off camera, what we were talking about. When I was sitting there signing shirts before we set everything up, you were talking about how like I was into so many different things, and I told you I really wouldn't want to focus too much on one other thing that's outside of YouTube too much, because then it would distract from what you're really trying to grow that is already growing, right? I could put a lot of effort towards the car shop like I did, right? And I probably could have kept the car shop going alone, but I would have had to take so much time off of this, YouTube, and be doing what I have been doing for the last couple of years that it would have affected that. And to be honest, this is more important to me than that. I take the L there and just keep the W soaring to the top over here. You know what I mean? Like, I got to put all the effort towards this. I'll just take the L and move on. You know what I mean?
One thing. I think anybody that's ever been great at anything has focused on one thing, and then once they get so good at that one thing, that's when they diversify.
Yeah. Build a team.
Exactly. And building the word of the year is momentum. On my board, and then I have something in systems, delegate, and then hard work. And I think that's a big thing to it, because I don't know if you're still editing your videos, are you?
Just as of last month, no.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
I don't know how you
9 years without doing it, and to be honest, I found a guy, and my boy Ty he's a goat. He's
Bro, that's crazy to think that you're editing your videos, because I know you used to show that. I'm like, how's he still editing his videos like this? Like, you can find someone on Fiverr for like $50 to do it.
I know.
But the reason that I bring that up, the systems and the delegation, is because going all in on one thing and making that your baby and building it so big to where you're like, okay, now maybe I could start putting some money into real estate. Now maybe over time, maybe an extra 10, 5, 6K that I put aside a month, now I can put into real estate. A lot of times it's like that for people. They want to go so spread out.
Yeah.
And there's something that I actually heard from Patrick David that he said, when you first start content, it's important to go deep and not wide. Because when you go deep, you find your audience, you find your niche, you find the people that resonate with you. And
100%.
once you like find those people, then you can open up a little bit. Then you can try the tide pools. Then you can try this. Then you can try the pool. Then you can.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
You said that beautifully, and it's almost like exactly the way I kind of looked at my career coming up. Is I always dialed in and stayed focused on that one thing, and that was just making the coolest ponds and having the coolest fish. And now that I've gotten to a point where I can branch out, I've started to make start to finish pool video, and it got the same amount of views my other videos did. Or go to do tide pools and vacation vlogs, and those videos are still averaging the 200,000 that I get on the other videos. So I totally relate to that, what you just said, and it's a very, very true statement.
Well, I hope that resonates with one of you, whether it's business, content creation, influencing, whatever you want to do. I think that's the most important thing.
The best way to say it is once you grow an audience, that audience is so loyal to you that they'll continue to grow you even when you're not uploading.
So question, how do you feed that community and grow it to be even stronger? Because that's something that I'm realizing. Like, for instance, I'll be very honest. I'm interviewing you, and then I have a big political guest in like a month. And then I have a NASDAQ CEO in August, the first one. Like, that's a very different thing, but it's all in the same sector. But what I'm trying to learn, and this is what I'm really curious about, is how do you feed how do you build a genuine community online?
I think the biggest thing, and it's kind of what I DM'd you years back, is just be you. I think if you're yourself, I am exactly how I am in person on my camera. The only difference is I have a little bit more of a what's going on, because you have to have that hype, in my opinion. I'm not going to be like, hey guys, welcome back to another video. At that point, it's just kind of boring to watch. I don't even want to watch that. And if I can't watch my own content, then why should someone else, right? So I think just being yourself and being true to your own self is the way to grow, because then you're not faking nobody. When I meet someone at a meet and greet, they're going to know exactly who I am. There's no difference than me on camera than you meet me at the meet and greet. So I think that's the best answer I can give you for that.
And it's crazy.
Be you.
It's crazy how I'm realizing more with business and with the podcast. Like, the cliche things that you were told growing up are often the most correct things. The things that you actually have to stick to. And I'm going to take that to heart, to be you, because, that's number one, that's all you can be. And number two, then there's when the smoke all clears, because there's going to be a time, and I actually want to get to that, when the smoke clears and it's like, oh shit, I'm losing views. Well, you're still yourself. It's like nobody can tell you, hey,
you don't have to fake
BS.
nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, like if anything ever goes south, or I was always true to myself. I could lay my head on the pillow at the end of the day and go to sleep knowing I was never faking to be nobody. I didn't, you know what I mean?
100%.
Like that's the peace of mind that anyone could ask for,
Question, I want to hold that thought, but going back to the consistency thing, because I know that's the first thing that you said, and I actually had a question written about that, because to this day, I still see your videos come up. Yeah. Like last night, I saw the colorful fish that you put into that.
Fish,
You still consistently, on a very consistent basis, put out YouTube videos, and I want this, what you're saying, to not only go to somebody that wants to create videos, but that has a business. How is it that you stay consistent? Is there certain systems that you set up? Is there how do you stay so consistent with the videos? I just want to add, and you keep the quality. How do you stay consistent with keeping quality?
My brain is just constantly going, man. And I think that's one of the biggest things is I don't really stop, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I truly believe if you want to do this YouTube thing and this creator thing and be posting on so many different social medias at the same time, you have to continuously want to grow. And in order to have that growth is you have to just consistently be new. Keep new things coming. And when I build this pond, I'm thinking months ahead. How long can I make videos on this pond for before I have to start a new project? So essentially on the back end, behind the cameras, behind the scenes, when I'm sitting on the patio at 10, 12 in the morning,
You're up pretty late. You texted me at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I stay up to 3, 4 in the morning every night. I sleep from 4 a.m. to 8, 9 in the morning. I'm not really an early bloomer, but that's just how I've been, and I don't really think I'll change that because that's just my pattern. But I like to be at night. I get a lot of work done, and at night I think to myself, I have a note on my phone with 250 plus videos. 9 years in, I have 200 plus videos on my phone. I'm not stressing about video ideas. I'm chilling. And it's because at night, I don't take that time to just sit there and watch TikTok and do absolutely nothing, right? And granted, I have those times, especially if you're not feeling too good, right? But if you take every single time that typically everybody else is not doing anything and put that towards your business, that's helped me a lot. Middle of the night, I'll just sit there and come up with 10, 15 ideas. I'll scout, I'll go through the whole entire internet. I'll see what I like, and I'll put my own twist on it. These ponds will make me 15 videos. Here's the budget, how much it costs. Will I make the money back? And then I can put that money towards other projects. It's a business, man. Behind the scenes, it's a full business. And a lot of people don't realize that. But to give your answer to answer your question is yeah, man. When your time is usually not when you should be working, that's when you work.
And then there was something, who told me that? It was a client that I had that told me this.
Yeah.
But every single free hour, free time, free minute, free second that you have, try to find a way to put it back into yourself, into your business, into anything. Because I think what happens, and this is something I'm realizing because I still struggle. I don't think struggle is it, but I still fall into that sometimes where I find myself just watching YouTube or watching.
Me too,
something.
man. We all. Yeah.
No, I think that's the most important thing because we're not robots.
No.
But the majority of the time, I really like to be intentional with the way I spend time because I know a lot of the seeds that you're going to plant now are eventually going to bear fruit.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is okay, how can I put every single time that I have right now that I could be doing this, that it's free time, that I'm still living with my parents, how can I find a way to put this back into my business or put it back into the podcast or anything? And that's where I'm at. And I feel like it's very important to find a way to constantly be putting time that you would put elsewhere back into your business.
So typically the time that you're not doing anything is the time you put back into it. And that's, for me, has become the greatest thing when it comes to content and staying consistent.
I like that.
And having plenty of ideas to run off of. Some days if I don't have a video to make on the pond, then I go to that note and I go, okay, here's ones that don't require needing the pond. And then I can go film that. So you always have content.
Planning, I like that.
Yeah. Planning is huge.
I'm a big believer in planning and have planned out my year. And I think more than planning is visualizing because visualizing the things before you see it is, I think, what makes an entrepreneur. I think it's what makes somebody successful because you saw the vision of this being built with the paintings here, with the names here, way before you put it out on YouTube.
100%.
But having that vision be so crystal clear and on top of that, writing it down, mapping it out, saying, okay, what's that? And then getting prepared to ditch it all when everything's going is that's the entrepreneurship. That's the sauce right there.
And it's the greatest feeling on earth, man. I don't feel like there's any more of a dopamine spike in the entire world than planning something in your head and watching it come to life and then it actually succeeding. Whether it's getting the views, making the sales. When that happens, man,
100%,
there's
100%.
no better feeling than a plan succeeding.
And that's a real dopamine. If you want to get into the science about it,
that's
dopamine
that
you get
man.
from TikTok and all that same feeling that you get from that satisfying feeling, you feel it when something like this comes to light 4 years down the road. Now I finally did this.
100%.
That is that feeling. And I think momentum and having that feeling and then finding it again is also what makes an entrepreneur.
Yep. And then you do it, and then you want to do it again. You're like, oh, I got to do it bigger, better this time,
Who was it that said it?
So,
I don't know if it was a podcast I was watching with you or it was something else that said, oh no, it was Hormozy. It was Hormozy that said, I was just watching this thing. He said, good, again. That's his quote of his office. He's to any sales rep, to anything, he's like, good, again.
Yeah.
Yo, I just closed a $5,000, good again. Yo, I just made a video that did $1 million, good again. That mindset is what keeps you relevant. Good again.
Yep.
Again. Keep doing it again.
Exactly.
And a lot of people outside in say it as oh, well, you're just being greedy. Well, you're just not grateful for what you have. I think there's a difference between healthy ambition and then greed, because greed is you'll do by any means to get this done. But ambition is okay, look, if your North Star is, wow, I just want to make people enjoy my videos. I want to give them a good time. I want to have that person that
entertain
that's having a bad day, a bad year, a bad week, a bad month. That North Star is not greed,
And it's crazy, man. And we don't have to get too deep into it, but the amount of DMs and messages, and I tried to get to so many of them, and I know some are watching even, that I get that are man, you changed my life. You got me through some tough times. I just told Tommy, didn't I just say this the other night? Last night. I'm sitting in the kitchen and I'm like, dude, I just dead ass. I'm just this is just unreal to me. It doesn't make sense. Off camera. I mean, just sitting there in the kitchen this person DM me and said I saved his life. And it's like, bro, I'm simply in my backyard doing what I love. And I could get emotional, bro, but like, I'm literally just saved this guy's life because he finds my stuff entertaining.
Yeah.
But all I did was do what I love, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, he messages me saying that, and it just like hit, bro. And I'm like,
But
that's not the only one, too. It happens all the time, and it's just,
no, and I want to say that.
it's nuts that something you love could change someone's life.
No, and
You know
I
what
want to
mean?
say I'm a first-hand believer in that, and I will very humbly put my pride down. I don't know how you want to say it, but I think you've changed my life a lot, and I think, it's crazy because I was FaceTiming my girlfriend. I was like, this is literally like, she watches Yes Theory. I was like, imagine meeting Yes Theory that you've watched all your life. Like, this is what's happening right now. But more than that, there's been times where when I was 14, 15, like, I left my high school. I quit playing football. I had no friends. I had nothing. All I would do was watch your videos. And I swear to you, bro, like, God is my witness, bro. Like, I think you are what kept me, like, insane. I, like, watch your videos and be like, fuck, drop another video. Sorry for cursing. I was like,
nah,
bro,
dude,
drop
I love
another
it.
video. And then on top of that, bro,
I love to see you doing big things.
No,
man.
and
I love to see it.
And I think more than that, when you texted me that, it made me realize that, like, dreams aren't too far away.
No.
I just, the vlog posted at 12:45. Let's see what time it is right now. It's 1:39. At 12:45, a vlog posted today. Crazy. Then I was like, man, I just feel like I'm doing all the right things, but nothing's happening. Drop that for a reason because I know tomorrow I'm going to drop this one. But you almost get micro signs from God that, hey, keep going.
Yeah.
Because, bro, God is my witness. When I send you the shoe, I sent it to, I think, like 200 other people. You're the only one that responded. Only one. And you're the only one that I really wanted because I grew up watching you, because I felt like I knew you, that I knew it would be different because it's a different podcast.
That's
and I don't think there's
amazing,
any
man.
mistakes, but I say
plan.
that. Yeah, no, I say that
It
because.
won't be the last time, too, bro. This is just the start.
No, I hope so. And I want to say that. I want to share this because you firsthand have changed my life, and I'll say that very humbly. And no, thank you. And I hope everybody that's watching that, feels that way, understands that he's exactly who he is in person. And more than that your dreams aren't that far away. I don't think they're that far away. And
I appreciate that, bro. Like,
No,
seriously,
I mean
that's
that.
awesome. That's awesome. I think it's crazy to me that I happen to come across the message, and like I said, if I see one,
I know you have
answer.
thousands of messages.
I
can
answer, man.
imagine.
Like I try to do my very best to get to it, and I recognized your profile, and I was like, I remember messaging this guy like years ago.
Yeah.
Clicked it, and then I was like, oh, dude, he's doing podcasts now. Checked out your channel, and dude, it was awesome. The production was great. Like your hustle, your mentality, the way you messaged me so confidently, I loved every bit of it. And I was like, I have respect for this guy before I even know him personally.
I appreciate that.
That made me just be like, yo, come over. I might be busy, but we'll sit down in the
No,
middle of the
it's
fish
perfect.
building and get
I
it
think
done.
this is the most ideal.
This is the way to do
This
it,
is a
right?
fire, a
Yeah.
fire setup. But I want to end off with something strong. This is what I would love to get to because I'm a firm believer. The reason why I started this podcast is I didn't know I wanted to start a podcast, but what I did know is that I wanted to spread the word of God without, in an industry, in business, and podcasting where it wasn't normal and at a mass scale, without it being like, hey, you know what, you're going to hell. Like, no, but I just want to spread the word of God. And then something that I've been seeing you post more often on Snapchat is your, I don't know, it's like a book that you have that has scripture and like a message.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, how has God played a role in like everything that you have?
Just recently, by the way.
What do you mean?
I've always been religious growing up, right? I've always been to church. My grandparents are very, very, very Christian, and every special holiday we'll go to church. But I don't necessarily think even going to church is you playing the role and believing in Him. Correct? I think there's many different ways to do so. And recently, I have just gone through a lot. I don't mean to sound like you need to feel bad for me because that's never my goal. But mentally, physically, just it's been draining recently, right? Like I just been hustling, bro. And it's not business related. It could just be anything.
Yeah.
It could be business, family, whatever it may be. Life's crazy, right? And I just really look back and I texted my mom and dad this morning. I said to them, I'm so grateful for what I have. And you have to realize that without any of it, we're still all five as a family, blessed enough to have each other, good relationship, healthy. Just to have that itself is a blessing. And when you look back at life and realize that you're blessed just to be here and breathe and just
It's a different perspective.
I'm in Florida, bro. Like, when you look at life just deep and ignore all the BS that life tries to distract you with, how could you be mad? And, like, how could you be sad, right? And granted, I'm coming from me. This doesn't speak for everybody because there's reasons why people could have depression and anxiety and stuff like that. There's many reasons. But for me personally, what's helped me get so close to him is realizing that he has a plan. He has everything already lined up for me. My decisions get me to certain spots, but at the end of the day, I always know Jesus has my back. And knowing that is the best, I get goosebumps talking about it, the best feeling on planet Earth. Wow. You always know that at the end of the day, no matter what happens, what decision, what tragedy you may come across, whatever the heck it may be, Jesus has your back, man. And it's like those those 4 words that just always keep me going.
Bro, I am like teary-eyed because this is exactly what I prayed for, because that's the most important message out of everything. And I think why it's important is because a lot of people say they don't believe in God. Well, I don't need God. But it's just because you don't realize what is God in your life. Yeah. And on top of that, you don't realize that you think you can get so far without him, but when you start taking up your cross, when you really read the word, when you start understanding, wait, his burden is light. Hold up. Come to me, all who are burdensome. Hold up. This is the promise that you have. You have a plan for me? What do you mean you have a plan? Mm-hmm. When you start realizing that, it's a very relief. Because it's almost like...
That word's perfect.
And it
is
a
huge relief.
And it's a peace. Because
peace of mind.
And the biggest thing for me is that he promises peace. And that's why I'm such... I don't think any of us are perfect. I'm not claiming to be perfect, and I hope that this isn't what you're taking from it. But the biggest thing from it is that, bro, like literally every problem that you have, everything that you have, there's an answer to it in the Bible. And I think we all have a coming to Jesus moment. It all looks different for us. He may have to literally put you back to the ground for you to say, well, you have nothing. You have everything, but you have nothing. Like, what do you have now? It gets to that point. But that's his mercy. That's his grace, because he didn't kill you, because you didn't. God forbid you lost a YouTube. You did it. Yeah. Like, that's not where it went. But it just went all the way enough where it's like, God, I only have you. Like, I literally have nobody. And that's where I think his grace and mercy is found. So I hope this is light for any of you guys that feel that way, that any of you guys feel that. Yeah. Man, I feel depressed. Man, I feel like nothing's turning out. Man, I feel like I'm just not getting anywhere. I don't know my purpose. Jeremiah 29:11, for I have all the plans for you, plans to prosper you, not to harm you. Walk by faith and not by sight. I'm going to leave you with that, guys, because I think we're running on an hour. I hope you guys made it to the end. If you guys did make it to the end. It's
incredible. And what a way to end it.
No, I think it was the best way to end it. Guys, like I said again, I'm going to emphasize it because it's probably going to be sold out, but just in case. Link in the description for the merch, because I'm looking at it. I don't even know how much is there.
There's a lot. There's not much left, but man, it was a pleasure to have you, bro.
Honestly, bro.
Thank you for coming. It won't be the last, like I said. I mean,
I hope so. It's not the last.
This is just, I feel like we could talk for 4, 5, 6 hours.
No, I feel the, what I like about this most is that you shared a side of you that you've never ever in your life have shared this side of you on social media. Yeah. And I think this is the most powerful thing. And I hope that, like I said, this won't be the last time. And I hope that
if you enjoyed it.
Yeah, if you enjoyed it, just hit the like button. I'm not used to this right now.
Hit the like button, subscribe. Is this going on YouTube?
Yeah, it's going on YouTube.
Subscribe down below. Hit the like button. And if you want to see more, let us know. Maybe some topics for us to even talk about, questions you have for me or for Jacob. Just let us know in the comments.
Guys, seriously, thank you for making it to the end. Like I said, go to the link in the description for that, but also go to the link in the description. Follow the Instagram so you guys stay tuned with the clips, the behind the scenes. I'm actually doing a vlog where I'm literally vlogging the process of building the biggest leadership podcast. Go follow Paul, Instagram, subscribe to him. It's probably already subscribed to him, but if you don't know who he is and you just found out who he is, it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'd love to give you guys, I'd love to tour with you guys, but like I said, if you want that tour, you're going to have to buy the shirt. Kind of how it works. But thank you guys.
You're good with it. I'm going to hire you for some marketing, brother.
But thank you guys so much for making it to the end. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye.
God bless.
Bro, I think that was crazy, bro.
Absolutely epic.